Yeah, New York City has been getting crazy. I think that we can all agree on that.
The city of New York, Boricua from the Bronx.
It's starting to feel like it used to back in the 80s when you would go outside and see somebody standing up, but like half asleep, slumped over, leaning sideways, barely even able to stay upright, but somehow doing it. Y'all remember that? This opioid crisis is out of control in New York. There are so many addicts out there suffering, and I don't know what the solution is, but I'm inclined to believe that all of it stems from mental health. When you ride the trains now, do you feel safe? I don't. I am always worried that at any moment some mentally ill person could come and attack me. A couple weeks ago, I had a guy testing me. He was trying to start trouble with me, and I just kind of like moved away from him. And he kept following me with his stare, looking at me, trying to like arch his head. He was definitely trying to get a rise out of me. And I just stayed quiet. I stayed calm, and I moved as far away from him as I could. I saw this very same guy. Was it 2 days ago? Throwing his arms in the direction of someone to push them away. Now imagine this person's near the tracks and he pushes them into the tracks. It could easily happen. This guy, I don't know what his mental illness is or what his deal is, but he is very hostile, he is very aggressive, and I believe that this guy is a danger. So when I'm around him, I don't particularly feel threatened because I can handle myself. I feel like I can handle myself. But what if he pulls a knife? What if he has a syringe? What if I don't know? I don't know. What if he gets hurt? Like I shouldn't have to be thinking about these things when I'm just living my daily life, you know? But this guy's out there, and I've seen him start trouble with me. I've seen him start trouble with other people. Okay. I've seen some videos and pictures of people assaulting other people in New York, cutting them, guys with freaking kitchen knives sitting around in the train. I mean, it's getting wild. And, I voted for Eric Adams. I was counting on Eric Adams to address these things, but it feels like it's just getting worse and worse, and nothing's come of it from Eric Adams' office. Now you hear this thing about the Supreme Court saying that it's unconstitutional for people to not be able to carry concealed in New York City, right? So they're trying to make it so that you can get a concealed permit in New York City to carry a firearm. This is the stuff that Eric Adams is up in arms about. Now, we're not going to go and make this a gun debate. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. We're not going into that ridiculous, nonsensical, never ending discussion, which either side never bends on. But I think we could be reasonable and say Eric Adams is focusing on this by making Times Square a gun free zone, isn't going to help us with that guy in the train. It's not going to help us with those people slumping over. It's not going to help us with those individuals carrying these knives in the trains and the random attacks. I don't think that in any of those situations it's been a carry concealed gun owner who did it. We can acknowledge that fact, right? Again, we're not making this into the gun debate. We're just stating the fact that every one of those attacks that's been carried out has not been by a legal concealed carry gun owner. We just acknowledge that fact. Be objective and acknowledge that fact. You acknowledge it, I acknowledge it. We got that as a baseline. So then we can say to Eric Adams, why are you focusing on these people when the people you should be focusing on are the ones that are mentally ill on the train, the ones who are attacking people, the ones who are really, really high on the opioids and they're like leaning over, facing the tracks. I pulled people away from the tracks because they looked like they were about to fall. I mean, those are the people that Eric Adams should be focusing on helping and addressing, right? There was a guy I read about a couple days ago who punched someone in the head and put them in a coma. And the DA in I think it was Brooklyn. I don't remember what borough, but the DA of that Clark, whatever her name is, she downgraded the assault from attempted murder to like a misdemeanor. And the guy was back out on the street because of bail reform. This dude punched somebody in the head, put them in a coma, right? And last I read, the person was still in a coma, And then my man is out here just chilling, back out in the street. Probably gonna do it again. The next time actually kill somebody before they actually lock him up. Why? Why? And listen to me. We're not making this about liberals and Democrats and Republicans. We're just asking some very common sense, basic safety questions about living in New York City. Why could this guy punch someone, put them in a coma, and my man's back out on the streets? Meanwhile, some people have been doing decades because they had some weed on them or they were an addict and they didn't do anything except have some controlled substance on them. I read about this dude who spent 7 years in prison because he had some drugs on him. Meanwhile, this cat pops somebody in the head, puts them in a coma, and he's out here in the street because the DA downgraded it to a misdemeanor. That's some fucked up shit. You imagine that this dude punches someone, puts them in a coma, and my man's out here chilling? That's fucked up and so irresponsible of her. So messed up and irresponsible of her. This has to change. Eric Adams needs to work on this stuff. Like how can a person do that and be out on the street? And again, it ain't about politics. It's just about a very simple thing. You put someone in a coma due to your actions and you out here chilling in the streets. I voted for Eric Adams, man. I voted for this guy. You know, I wanted him to come and fix New York and make things better. And I was hoping that since he was a cop in the past, he's a black man, he's from New York, he's from these streets, that he could strike some sort of balance that is fair to us, the citizens, that is fair to people trying to enforce the laws, that it was going to be good, that we would have the ability to strike a balance. But my man feels like he's taking an extreme on this, man. It feels like he's going to the extreme, like, and I'm a liberal, and I'm saying he's taking this to an extreme liberal thing, like okay, we got to make Times Square a gun-free zone, dude. All these attacks, all these things that are happening is not those people, and I'm not advocating for it. I don't believe that everybody should be in New York City carrying guns. I don't believe that. I'm not making the case for or against concealed carry. I'm trying to bring attention to the fact that they're focusing on the wrong thing. They out here saying, okay, we got to make Times Square a gun-free zone. Okay, fine. All right, that's fine. It's a tourist place. There's children there. Okay, fine. If that gives you some sense of safety, then so be it. I don't have a problem with that. But you're not addressing the actual real problems that New Yorkers are dealing with. Look at the subways, y'all. Look at these people getting cut up. Look at all the attacks. Those are the real problems. What are we doing for that? There's nothing being done for that. So I have to say, hey, I appreciate what you're trying to do. I dig it. Let's make New York safe. Totally agree with that. But you're not doing the right things when it comes to our safety. I'll go right now to Forest Hills and I'll see this guy. And if I get close to him, he'll attack me. He'll attack me. And then what? I bet you if I defend myself, I get in trouble. But he should have never been out there causing these troubles. It should be addressed. And it's not being addressed. And that's why I have to say, how can you be focusing on making New York City, Times Square a gun free zone, which these guys haven't done anything at all? Never have you heard of a concealed carry New Yorker doing anything to anyone. So why are we focusing our energies on restricting those people when there are actual people out there who are causing harm, doing bad things, and it's not being addressed? That's what we need to look at. Yo, right now, as I'm saying this, I hear somebody outside screaming, threatening somebody. You know, this is the real problem. And ain't the politicians ain't doing nothing about it. And then you got these guys who are actually committing crimes. Punch someone in the head so hard that they go into a coma, an older person in a coma because they got popped in the head, and the person who did it gets charged with misdemeanor. Are you kidding me? And what you're worried about is some legal gun owner who follows all the laws out here doing something. They ain't doing nothing. You worried about them? What about the dude that put the guy in the coma? What about the guy in Forest Hills? What about the people out there high as hell who will rob you blind, who will do whatever it takes to get drugs? How about we help those people and address that problem and in the same time protect us? New York City's getting really dangerous, and these politicians ain't doing a damn thing. Now, I repeat, I voted for Eric Adams. I had high hopes for this man, and I am sorely disappointed.
You are listening to the NYC Talking podcast. www.nyctalking.com. Please like NYC Talking on Facebook. Please follow Angel R Talk on Twitter and Instagram. We are NYC Talking, the realest lifestyle blog ever. Thanks for listening.